كل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
This hour of the broadcast is brought to you by Dreamy Schools.
It's never too early to get your child on the right track. From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center in Troy works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. The highly qualified and experienced staff use a variety of programs that can help nurture important personality traits like responsibility, independence, problem solving, motivation, and respect. They also have educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants, toddlers, transitional toddlers, and pre-K to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., can provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, and can also arrange for after-school pickups. Dreamy Children's Center in Troy is located at 37373 DeQuinder, just above 16 Mile Road, and can be found on Facebook at Dreamy Children's Center. Ask about the free preschool program. Call today, 248-680-9170, 248-680-9170.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Baladi. My name is Khalil Hashim. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, January 16th, and we have an exciting show for you today. And just wanted to double check to make sure that our guests are with us online. We have. Good morning. Good morning, Muhammad. Good morning, Basil. We will try to get him on momentarily, and they're from Dubai, I believe, and as you well know, sometimes it's tricky to get these guys on. So they will be with us very shortly. Again, my name is Khalil Hashim. I'm the executive editor of Michigan.com. Layla is not here today, and I'm delighted to be with you. Good morning, Muhammad and Basil.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm good. How's it going there?
Wonderful. What we're going to do is we're going to just quick news roundup for about a minute or so, and then we're going to go on with the show. We're going to be talking about Islamic banking today, and we're glad to have with us Basil Nadeem. And is Muhammad going to be with us as well, or is only Basil?
I think it's only me today.
Okay, welcome. We're glad to have you. I'm just going to go very quickly with the news roundup. The Detroit Auto Show starts this week on Saturday, and this starts for the public. And it's a wonderful, wonderful show. It's featuring 500 cars, beautiful concept cars. Another news is 35 police agencies work together during the holidays to make our community safer. The tally, 2,400 arrests, almost 17,000 traffic stops, and so forth and so on. We thank them for working hard to make our community safe. Detroit mayor is touting Arab Americans to live and invest in Detroit, specifically the Warrendale area. As you well know, the city of Detroit has a great places to purchase and for whether it is for residential homes or for business. If you're interested, you can go to our website, yamichigan.com, and get the information there, or you can call the city of Detroit. Tim Atalla of Northfield to lead Wayne County Economic Development Department. We're excited for Tim. He's one of our great members of our community, and we wish him good luck. Governor Snyder vetoed a bill that would have allowed people with PPO to carry guns. Hopefully, the bill will go back to the legislators, and then they will work on it to make it better. There are a host of other issues and laws that will affect you in Lansing, and if you go to our website, you can get a better information on what's going on. Here's an issue that's very important to our community. Tell the Census Bureau that you count. Support the new classifications. For the longest time, we Arab Americans are not counted. When we fill out the census, it doesn't say whether you're Arab American or not. They're testing it, and if it works well, it's going to be included. So go to our website or go to Access website and try to try to take the survey so you'll be counted. But you need to be careful with some scams going on. People calling and telling you that you have to be in court and so forth and so on. Don't give anybody any money over the phone. These are all scams. If you have any doubts, call the courts, call the police, call anybody that you need to. The lottery has $3.1 million in unclaimed prizes. If you have an old lotto ticket laying around somewhere, check it out. You may be one of these people. This is the news roundup here, and we just wanted to share them with you. And now we're going to go to Basil, and we thank you so much for being with us today, Basil.
Thank you, Hassan.
Absolutely. Could you, to start with, Basil has 13 years of experience as a strategy consultant. He has worked closely with CEOs and other senior executives at different types of financial institutions, assisting them in their strategy development and market entry. Currently driving a strategic change for a semi-government entity in the United Arab Emirates. You're in Dubai, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And maybe to add to the audience, I'm now the managing director of Tanmia Capital Limited.
Okay.
So also all the value proposition of the company is to bring in solutions for financial inclusion, of which maybe your audience are keen to know about Islamic banking. So it's like enabling people who are keen on Islamic banking to get access to banking.
Sounds good.
I do all together as of now.
Could you tell us a little bit more about you, please?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a good chance to tell about me. As I said, I've been working in this domain. I call it financial development and financial inclusion domain. It in terms of strategizing, providing tools, and reaching customers. In simple words, actually, while all the economic activities and banking sector is developing and improving, we have seen globally, not only me as Tanmia Capital, World has reported that the ratio of financial inclusion, in other words, people accessibility to financial services is not as high as it should be. There are a lot of statistics. Maybe the state is good in that, but globally, we will see like 70% of people only can access funds. So what about the other 30? Wonderful. The other 30 are broken into two groups. Some of them, they don't have the financial criteria. The others, they don't believe in the banking sector.
That's right, yeah.
We see, this is where I bring value to that, either to help banks with develop.
How things are in the Middle East with the oil almost half what used to be? I mean, we're happy here that the oil is $2. Gasoline is $2 a gallon. But how is it impacting the Middle East, specifically Dubai and other places where they spend a lot of money on development?
Yeah, a great question, Hashim. And actually, we didn't see. I have a lot of trips around the Middle East. I didn't see any decline in the prices, including fuel prices. Maybe the main reason for that is it's already fuel and gasoline is already subsidized. So we have seen a little decline of the gasoline, not only on the other, but it's already subsidized. So the state is already subsidized. So it's not really like USA. It's like reflected by.
Yeah. Is it affecting any other sector of the economy there?
Yeah, I mean, while it will hit banks. I mean, banks are still saying, well, we have sufficient liquidity.
Yeah.
We have seen reports on like the public budget of Kuwait, of Saudi Arabia, is not as high. There's a lot of deficit in it.
Sure.
Actually, it didn't impact the spending, but the deficit shall be funded not from our revenue, as it used to be the case maybe in the last decade, It will be through other investments which these governments were accumulating in terms of saving, overseas, investments. So they may liquidate and pop into the public, deficit to maintain the spending. So this is for the short run. We maybe few people would think about what would happen maybe in 3 years' time if oil prices really kept on this declining trend.
Yeah, do you expect them to keep declining?
Not really. I usually follow as and when I think I follow the World Bank, IMF type of statistics, and the projections is to be around from $45 to $82.
Yeah.
So this is the range. This is actually reflecting the actual demand for oil. I mean, people will use oil for all their daily life purposes.
Absolutely, it's a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a domino effect. It affects a lot of goods and services. I mean, we see it here when the price of oil goes up. Is normally everything else associated with it. Really, the prices and services go up, and just wondering if that has the same effect on on the daily life of people in the Middle East. And and we still don't understand why it keeps going down, other than the fact that I think Saudi Arabia is pumping a lot more oil, and there may be some political reasons behind that.
I think so. I mean, if you audience or let's say external observers of what happened in the OPEC meeting recently,
sure,
they figured out there is no intent to none of the OPEC members, to reduce their production, and there are a lot of competition from countries beyond OPEC. So these people, there is no apparatus, there is no mechanism to control their supply. So there is like a mix of things, on speculation. It's between speculation, political attention, and Hashim, there is something also called the cost of production.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm a company, let's say I'm a Saudi Arabia, and my cost for production, let's say it's $18. Since it is 42, I will keep pumping because I need to cover my $18 cost.
Sounds good.
So,
here's what we're gonna do, Basil. We're gonna take a short break for commercial so we can continue paying for the segments. We have 2 callers on the line. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit very quickly about Islamic banking, then take a couple calls. Please stay tuned.
I'm there.
Jumana K-Ruz. You've seen her images on giant billboards across the metro. Jumana K-Ruz. You've seen her images on buses across the city. Now get to know Jumana K-Ruz.
It's sad, but it seems like we live in an age where most lawyers are focused on the bottom line, the money. And a lot of people have stopped wanting to truly advocate. I never forget this case. This woman chose me as a lawyer of last resort. She was hit by a semi truck. I was able to recover about $480,000. Not every lawyer is an advocate, but every lawyer should be an advocate.
Let Jumana K-Ruz protect your rights. Call the law offices of Jumana K-Ruz at 1-866-YOUR-RIGHTS, extension 100, or visit yourrights.com.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
It's never too early to get your child on the right track. From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center in Troy works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. The highly qualified and experienced staff use a variety of programs that can help nurture important personality traits like responsibility, independence, problem solving, motivation, and respect. They also have educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants, toddlers, transitional toddlers, and pre-K to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., can provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, and can also arrange for after-school pickup. Dreamy Children's Center in Troy is located at 37373 DeQuinder, just above 16 Mile Road, and can be found on Facebook at Dreamy Children's Center. Ask about the free preschool program. Call today, 248-680-9170, 248-680-9170.
Welcome back to Radio Melody, and thank you for listening. We have a couple listeners, but before we take any calls, what we're going to do is we are going to continue with our guest, and we thank him for being with us this morning, and that is Basil Nadeem. The number here is 248-557-3300. Please call us and get on the conversation. Basil, again, what is Islamic banking?
Yeah, this is a good question. Now, Islamic banking, as maybe the sentence saying, it's a banking. So it's a banking where you will see everything about banking from how you deal with it, from opening an account, saving accounts, using cards, whatsoever. What is the difference is, among other things which is usually observed by normal banking, there is an important focus on the Sharia issues.
And Sharia here means Islamic law.
Yeah, Islamic principles. I mean, across the development of this industry, maybe in the previous 25 years, scholars, practitioners, lawyers, and consultants, regulators, they agree together under different forms like the Awafi Council or others, and they document or develop a certain rule, like how a banking transaction would be compliant to the Islamic Sharia rule.
Wonderful.
There's a lot of writing about that. So it's not only. So for Islamic banking, you need to observe a certain set of principles. Some of them are really known for people, like prevention of riba, investing in ethical investments. This is known. When it comes to the real details of the banking, there are also a lot of rules that you have to own the assets, you have to assume the risk, maybe, so structuring, there are a lot of structures, and which banks now, they have to adhere to maintain their compliance with the Sharia. Definitely there is some other like governance models, there's a Sharia board, some people with background in banking and Islamic jurisprudence shall look at the product, ensuring its compliance to the principles, to the product. So I always tell that, and I will tell to your audience. I mean, Islamic banking is a banking, but among other rules and regulations, there is a major focus on Islamic Sharia rules.
It's compliant with Islamic law.
Exactly.
Okay. Before we continue, we have a caller, and that's Sam on the line, and thank you so much for waiting. Sam, good morning, and go ahead, please.
Yeah, I got a question for you and your guest.
Yes.
I want you, are you not ashamed when you say I'm Muslim?
No, I'm not.
Why?
Why should I be ashamed?
You see what's going on over there?
Well, I'm not ashamed.
Why?
I'm not ashamed at all. I mean, I regret what some Muslims are doing. This is.
Must be you shame yourself, man.
No, I'm not.
But what?
Thank you for calling.
Why?
Thank you for calling.
Tell me what's the one reason why.
This is a show about Islamic banking. I'm not ashamed for being a Muslim. Islam is a wonderful religion, and I'm proud of being an American who has a right to practice any religion we want. There are some Muslims who are doing terrible acts, and we hope that they stop. And this is not the topic of this discussion. The topic of the discussion is Islamic banking. And we have another caller, and that is Najib on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning, Najib. How are you?
Fine. How are you? And good morning
Thank
to
you.
your guest, Mr. Basil, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Hi, Mr. Basil, and Mr. Muhammad from Dubai, I believe.
Muhammad is not with us anymore. He facilitated the call, and please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you. My question will have two parts, Mr. Khalil Hashim. Yes. One of them about the oil, and then the other one about the Islamic banking.
Okay.
With the oil, I start. The drop of the oil prices, Mr. Khalil Hashim, remind me here at our country, the United States of America. Back then, I remember the house's value was reaching $500,000, and suddenly the market went down. That house from $500,000, and that, from my experience, went down to half the price. So the prices of the oil was $4 just a while ago. And when I was talking to some friends, American, that when they told me, Jerry, we wish if the prices go down to $2, I say, you are out of your mind.
Well, it is $2 today, so.
Exactly, yeah. And we see it, even $1.78 in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
My question is, for the first part, is the cartel industry beyond this? The second thing is this aimed at Russia as a part of the European punishment? Right now, I see the Russian ruble.
What's the second question, Najib?
The second question, sir, it's about the Islamic banking.
Yeah.
I want to say to Basil, let's say there is other religious people as a customer, Jews or Christian or other religion, they want to invest money with Islamic banking. How the bank will deal with them? They will accept them as a customer? When we're talking about the banking, it stands the base on Al-Sharia.
Excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you very
so much,
much,
Najib.
and have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
And listen,
Basil, this is really a great question that Najib is raising. We're not gonna get into why the oil is up or down because that's a long discussion. But Najib is raising a really great question, and that is Islamic banking for everyone?
Yeah, and I think this is a really good question. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is for everyone, and the reason, when you deal with an Islamic bank, it's not a question whether being Muslim or not. And that's why I always emphasize Islamic banking. The governance model is different, is in addition to the normal banking. But they accept the clients from everywhere. Let me give you examples. In the Middle East, the majority of Islamic mortgage clients maybe are Europeans, between two brackets, non-Muslim practitioners. In Malaysia is the biggest Islamic banking, let's say, hub. It's not the biggest in size, to be honest. Saudi Arabia is, but it's the most active, most well established. We have seen Malays or non-Malaysian who are not Muslim are banking with Islamic banks in Malaysia, and this is about 40% of them. In the UK, there are two banks, and Mr. Cameron, the Prime Minister, last year or more than a year ago, he declared London as the capital of the Islamic banking capital market. So this means Islamic banking is not about for Muslims to bank with. It's a certain market segment which observes additional rule and regulation, but it's open for everyone, whether regardless of his belief. So this is from the let's say from the bank side. If a Hindu or a Jewish or whatsoever, nihilist or whatsoever, he wants to bank, no question would be asked about his religion. It's not part of the know your client. It's not part of your application.
Sure.
Banking will be freely traded, so it's your choice to choose. However, let me add one point here. Some people, statistically have done this in Russia when I was doing work, and in the Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and among other countries. Some people would only bank with Islamic banking. This is
isn't it because of the security aspect, in which that Islamic banking does not deal with securities that they're not guaranteed?
No, for this segment, they deal with Islamic. I will come to this category in the second segment.
Yeah.
let's say it's about 18 to 20% actually from non-Muslim countries. They will deal with Islamic banks because of their religious beliefs. I mean, when I'm saying non-Muslim countries, as example, Russia, UK, USA, but you deal with Islamic banks because of the belief in it. Mm-hmm. On the other extreme side, we see people, maybe like Sam, who will never approach an Islamic bank because of the opposite Islamic belief. So this is like extreme banking, extreme clients. I'm not saying extreme, I mean, these are like beyond the median or average of clients. Most of the clients, maybe it's 60 to 70%. And this is what we need to focus on. These are mainstream people, it's you and me, who earn for money, who wants to get good deals. So this is where you pitch in.
When it comes to lending, though, the main difference between Islamic banking and non-Islamic banking is the fact they compound interest, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just briefly explain what is the difference there?
Yes. I mean, and this is one of the reasons why people would deal. Well, normally people would do Islamic bank because the way they offer the product is different. Mm-hmm. First of all, compounded interest rate is not the norm when it comes to Islamic banking. Mm-hmm. What would happen? The bank would buy the asset for you and sell it to you at a pre-agreed profit rate. So it means the price, which is the amount of the money being lent, would not change up and down based on LIBOR or based on the compounded rate, technicalities. It would be fixed after the contract between you and the bank. So this is of great value. When I said in Dubai, as example, non-Muslim clients, they found in their mortgage, if they are sure about the price of the mortgage.
Absolutely. We're dealing with real security instead of. I don't want to use the word bogus, but it's just not real security, because when you sell certain security today, for example, if I loan you $10, you take that $10 and sell it for one person, another person. That $10 carries, if it is, if we lend it to 5 people, then it has a value of $50, but in reality it is only $10. In Islamic banking, this doesn't happen. $10 means $10.
Yeah, and the reason is that there is a principle here. Maybe it's good to have some education brief. There's a big principle saying it's asset-based financing. So real money would go to real assets. You need to have a car, a house, and an MBA. So real money to real assets. Nothing about leveraging or budget, as I said. Like money goes in 10 times. Globally, it's 16 times the size of the asset.
Exactly.
Where that happened. This is IMF statistics, not Islamic banking. 16 times. I mean, every dollar has $16 at the top of it. Islamic banking, it's 1 to 1, and this is roughly about it.
Yeah. What we're going to do, Basil, is we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Life for Relief and Development is a non-profit charity that has been providing humanitarian aid and development to people and communities regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background for over 22 years. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life rushes to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Life also has development projects that provide medical relief, water purification, educational programs, relief for orphans, and much more. Your help and support can greatly improve these efforts. All donations are tax deductible. For more information, please visit our website at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493. That's lifeusa.org, 248-424-7493. Dr. Opada Al-Zuhaili is a diabetes and endocrinology specialist with over 12 years of experience in medical research dealing with diabetes patients. Dr. Zuhaili lectures in many American and Arab universities about the latest research and studies related to diabetes. Al-Zuhaili Medical Centers are fully equipped to provide you with the best in medical treatment. Whether Arabic or English, our staff of medical professionals speak your language and can provide for your comfort and care. You're always welcome at Al-Zuhaili Medical Centers. Please visit our Southfield location at 27207 Losser Road, and for appointments call 248-809-5988. That's 248-809-5988. It's never too early to get your child on the right track. From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center in Troy works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. The highly qualified and experienced staff use a variety of programs that can help nurture important personality traits like responsibility, independence, problem solving, motivation, and respect. They also have educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants, toddlers, transitional toddlers, and pre-K to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., can provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, and can also arrange for after-school pickup. Dreamy Children's Center in Troy is located at 37373 DeQuinder, just above 16 Mile Road, and can be found on Facebook at Dreamy Children's Center. Ask about the free preschool program. Call today, 248-680-9170, 248-680-9170.
Welcome back to Radio Baladi. The number here is 248-557-3300. We're discussing Islamic banking with Basil Nadim, and I also want to mention the fact that Islamic banking has hit $1 trillion mark. That's a huge amount of money, and it's becoming more and more popular. It is in the West as well as it is in the Middle East. And before we went on to the break, we were talking about, exactly how it works and the difference in lending. For example, if we're buying a home, whether it is for Islamic banking or not. And the other thing is that not all Muslims observe Islamic banking. It depends on the denomination. It depends on whether people want to do it or not. It's not mandatory. Is that correct, Basil?
Yeah, correct. Nothing mandatory here. It's only you see what you believe is good for your financial needs. That's all.
And it is, the attraction here from what I've read is the security aspect of it. Certain, and it is also supply and demand. Certain people want to buy securities in certain areas. They don't want to buy securities in things they don't believe in. And then I think they should have that if they want to, if they choose to, as long as they're not violating any laws.
And let me tell you something interesting. I was in Scotland maybe a month ago, and in Scotland, among others in different countries. Sweden, Denmark. I have seen trends of people who could prefer what's called ethical finance, and they said, we don't want to put deposits in banks which really abuse the nature, invest in non-environmental friendly, activities. They are not really clear where they invest their money. Our money being, So there is a big trend called move your money. So they are really impressed by the Islamic banking in the sense of it being an alternative banking system.
Absolutely. You mentioned something earlier, which is you have more control over your investment. Could you explain that, please?
As a client in Islamic banking?
Yes.
Yeah. There are two aspects of it. When it comes to lending, the bank will only lend you what you really need, So it's like, as I said, it's a real investment activities or real financing activities. So this is where the money will go mainly to productive economic sectors or segments in the community or in the market. So this is one aspect. The second aspect, when you deposit the money in the bank, the bank will not expose the entire liquidity of depositors to high risk, investments or to non-real activities or non-securitized activities. So you are in a better proposition that the bank would not collapse because all the money is on real, it's securitized or let's say it's asset-backed. And if we look at the little bit not away financial crisis, we didn't see, even in Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, we didn't see any Islamic bank collapse. This is mainly all their money is in real money.
Yep.
So it has two aspects of it: security, and maybe if we want to go technical a bit, looking at the UK regulations of the Financial Conduct Authority. If you look at how they will manage, what the regulations said about Islamic banks, they have imposed additional components that makes really Islamic banks what we call the technically well capitalized. I mean, the liquidity in the bank should be higher than usual when it comes to normal banking for different reasons.
Yeah.
But that means the bank is more solid, in terms of.
And this really came true in 2008 when the market crashed and there were a lot of issues about the way securities have been handled and so forth and so on. This is when Islamic banking and a lot of people start looking into it.
Exactly. I think that this year, this is when everybody, all practitioners and analysts were looking like, wow. I mean, the model of the alternative banking system, I mean, the Islamic banking system, it proved to be prudent when it comes that their risk exposure, as we said, and their financials is really safe, and all of them are based on real assets, real investments, real financing. I don't want to say that they didn't. Everybody gets hit by this.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
the impact is minimum, though, when it comes to Islamic banking.
Yeah, it didn't collapse. I mean, it's
exactly.
It's a bit ill because at the end of the day, Islamic banking is only a bank within the bigger economy. So when the bigger economy suffering, these banks would suffer, but they didn't collapse because they're more solid.
Now, again, to take it back from theory to practice and to practicality, if I want to buy a home, and then I go to the regular bank, and the regular bank will tell me that, you have to pay 20% down, and then we will finance the rest for 30 years at 4 or 5%, and then as I start paying, what I'm really paying is mostly for several years is interest, and then I start paying principal, and then over the years I'm paying less interest, more principal, so the bank can get their money. How is that different with Islamic banking?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the first one, let's start by the cycle. The first one, if you didn't get your home, for, let's say you purchased off-plan, if it was off-plan and you didn't get your home, in Islamic banking, the bank would assume the responsibility, not you. So it means there will be no profit or let's say no financing charges when your home is not between your hands. And this is a big difference. I know in the normal banking, people would pay for getting the right to get the home after 2 years. I mean, this is not the practice in Islamic banking. The second thing, when you said about what we call declining, I mean, you pay more interest in the early years, then less the principal, then it's split off.
Yeah, the first few years, basically all you're paying is interest.
The best practice in Islamic banking, I'm thinking the best practice, is you pay equally. So if it is 8%, so you pay, equally to your loan, to your principal, and to your interest. We call the profit.
Sure.
But to make it practical, Islamic banking, we always say, I mean, it happens. If the regulator would, advise the otherwise, then banks would follow the regulatory aspect of it. So it depends how the country is really looking at it, So the third thing is, when we set a murabaha, we call it murabaha contract between you and me, you are the client and the bank, hopefully, and the bank, I will not change. I mean, it means, I will tell you, Hashem, this is like $1 million house. With the profit, it will be $1.2 million. And you have to pay $1.2 million for the coming 15 years. No changes in the prices. Nothing like LIBOR increase or decrease,
It is immediate ownership. I mean, you start getting equity in your property immediately and this is one of the difference. And then in the other segment we're going to be talking about a little bit about interest. We'll save that till after the break. But again, I want to just make this point clear to one of the main distinction is that, again, if I'm buying a $100,000 home, and, whether I go musharaka, murabaha, whatever, term it is, basically is I'm getting instant equity in the home. Because, again, if I buy a home and at a low down payment, for the first 3, 4, 5 years, all I'm paying is interest. If I sell the home, really, I don't have any equity in it, unless the value appreciates. And if value does not appreciate, that means I really don't have any equity in it. And in Islamic banking, it does.
Exactly. And
okay.
as you said before the break, if you give me a second, I mean, always customers should. This is how the bank works. How does Islamic banking work? So always advise. You check with the mortgage advisor, and you tell him, wait a minute. I mean, this is how Islamic banking works. So can you really confirm that to me? So this is always good to ask.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the model about, but sometimes some companies, some Islamic banks would do this, will package things differently. So
sure.
It's allowed, it's supported by the Islamic banking model. Always clients would advise to seek clarity on this aspect from the mortgage consultant.
Yeah. To be honest with you, we've at our magazine, Michigan.com, we've talked about Islamic banking a couple of times, and we mainly got questions, and interest mainly from non-Muslims. And they're really interested in the way it works. They're interested in the way that, the protection it offers. And they like the fact that there's a security in the short term and long term, without really putting your money in jeopardy. And we were really surprised that a lot more people that non-Muslims, for no religious reasons, are interested in learning more and more about Islamic banking.
Yes, and as I said, I mean, the growth in the Islamic banking is no longer something like an imam or a sheikh with advice.
Sure.
It's been well-established regulatory framework in London, in Dubai, in Malaysia, where the transactions and the relationship with the client about his investments and money are well documented. You don't need to be an imam to understand. You just be a practitioner who would read the standard and apply it. And the success is coming from this aspect. All the aspects we have said, is about, it's a better ethical banking model than maybe the original one.
Sounds good. What we're going to do, Basil, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned, please.
Are you going to start up a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Najee Abood at 248-442-9292. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Najee Abood now, 248-442-9292. New Concept Products and Designs, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. For more information, visit newconceptproducts.com, 248-442-9292.
Jumana K-Ruse. You've seen her images on giant billboards across the metro. Jumana K-Ruse. You've seen her images on buses across the city. Now get to know Jumana K-Ruse.
Most people who sit in my office across from my desk are hurting on so many levels. One thing people do not know about medical malpractice is that the statute of limitation, meaning the time that you have to bring suit against a doctor, a hospital, is 2 years. In medical malpractice, that's a very, very short period of time. Not every lawyer is an advocate, but every lawyer should be an advocate.
Let Jumana K-Ruse protect your rights. Call the law offices of Jumana K-Ruse at 1-866-YOUR-RIGHTS, extension 100, or visit yourrights.com.
It's never too early to get your child on the right track. From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center in Troy works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. The highly qualified and experienced staff use a variety of programs that can help nurture important personality traits like responsibility, independence, problem solving, motivation, and respect. They also have educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants, toddlers, transitional toddlers, and pre-K to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. They're open from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., can provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks in between, and can also arrange for after-school pickup. Dreamy Children's Center in Troy is located at 37373 DeQuinder, just above 16 Mile Road, and can be found on Facebook at Dreamy Children's Center. Ask about the free preschool program. Call today, 248-680-9170, 248-680-9170.
Welcome back to Radio Baladi. We're discussing Islamic banking with Basil Nadeem from Dubai. The number here is 248-557-3300. And before we continue, I just want to make a quick comment. Earlier we got a call from Sam, and he was adamant to talk about the issue of Islam. It's not that we don't want to talk about it, but this is not the issue today. This is not the topic today. And it is regrettable what, some Muslims are doing. And we hope that they stop, and we oppose that. We oppose any form of violence. And then he posed the questions, am I ashamed for being a Muslim? No, I'm not. But I strongly oppose all the violence that's taking place. We can't really have collective punishment just because somebody is from a religion. 150 million people, 50 million African Americans died in the journey from Goree Island to the New World during slavery, 200 years of slavery. And that was carried out mainly by Christians. Does that mean that all Christians should be ashamed? No, it's not. 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust by Christians. Should Christians be responsible for that? No, there are certain people who are responsible for that. We don't want to impose collective punishment on people just because somebody of a certain religion, that means that person is guilty. We don't want to do that. We regret and we oppose, strongly oppose all these elements. And I think Muslims should do a lot more to encourage peaceful coexistence and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and all kind of freedoms that we enjoy here in the West. Again, this is not the topic today, and I apologize for Sam that we can't talk about it today. Maybe in the future we'll talk about it, but not today. And again, we're talking about Islamic banking, and I want to welcome Basil again. And here is the issue of interest. This is something, very important and a good distinction when it comes to Islamic banking. Is it, and I know it depends on what kind of denomination of Islam is, but is the issue of interest forbidden, period, or is there, and what's the difference between the fees that Islamic banking charges and the interest that regular bank charges?
Yes, while Sharia prohibits the acceptance of interest or specific interest rate, it doesn't mean that you will get finance on like free of charge. The difference is, it's written in the core of Islamic banking, where riba is prohibited, while وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. So it's like, this is where the principle comes from. Now, what is the difference? The difference is that the profit rate would be based on the economic yield of the assets you are financing. So let me give you an example. An Islamic bank, wants to finance a farm, a farm in Chicago, So how the bank will get their money of being lent, We don't use the word lent, but it's being financed. It mainly will be driven from the economic performance of the farm and on the partnership ratio. So the bank here will not tell the farmer, listen, our yearly rate is 10%. So you pay 10% whether you are at loss or whether you are doing profit. It's the leveraging stuff where MBA students are doing. It's actually the bank will tell the farmer in the Islamic banking scenario, well, we will take 20% of your share of the profit, and opposite to that, we will give you, let's say, half of your capital. So we will lend half of the capital, and at the end of the year, we will get 20% back. It means if the farmer wins $1,000, the bank will take $200. But if the farmer didn't do any profit, the Islamic bank will not take any money from the farmer. And this is the big difference.
Exactly.
If this farmer went to a normal bank, the bank will charge him, give me my 10% interest rate. The would tell, I don't have money because look at my audited balance sheet, saying, okay, the bank will give a solution saying, well, next year, I will reschedule your loan. Next year, you pay me for the last year 10%, all of this compounded interest rate mechanism would work. And this is where the difference starts, and big one. So it doesn't mean it's free, but it's not predetermined. Look at the economics of the assets and stuff. Notwithstanding that we have seen globally, Islamic banks sometimes, even though they the profit rate sometimes, and this is a big argument, they overcharge, that they impose or they suggest a profit rate which is higher than their peers. But this is irrelated, so we're looking at the economics of
exactly,
it's not
exactly.
about
exactly.
because profit rate is higher. It's about other economic variables and considerations. Mainly in USA, it depends on the size of the market, depends on how many clients are there in the bank, So it's not about that the Sharia imposed the profit rate to be higher. It's actually the economic circumstances. Because as I said, Islamic banks are always playing in the economy like others. So they may put or suggest a higher profit rate compared to interest rate or lower. It depends on their economics, but the way they share risk, this is called sharing of risk with the client, is completely different model altogether.
Yeah, and again, I want to emphasize one of the things you said is that Islamic banking is not run by a bunch of a group, I should say, not bunch, a group of religious people. This is run by experts in economics and banking and professionals, and this is why it has witnessed such a tremendous growth. And if we're talking worldwide, what nation really is the leading nation when it comes to Islamic banking?
Yeah, I would say Malaysia. And this is where they have really very well established Islamic banking. This is in terms of activity and well establishment.
Yeah.
In terms of size, it's actually Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Biggest. But
in Western nations, which one is one of the biggest?
The Saudi Arabia, then it comes Indonesia, then Malaysia, then UAE. So this is the size.
No, I'm talking in the West, like in Europe and in the United States.
In Europe, this is the big difference. If you look at Islamic banking, when it comes to retail, individual financing, we have seen, as I said, Malaysia and Saudi Arabia. When it comes to corporate Islamic banking, when it comes to investment banking activities, with observance of Sharia rule, we are seeing clearly the UK is number one, followed by Luxembourg, followed by, Bermuda, because of the activities, Liechtenstein. This is really big in terms of the...
We have a caller again, and Najib on the line. And Najib, you have only 10 seconds. Quick question, because we're running out of time.
What I want to say to you, one bad apple in the bushel doesn't make the rest of the apples bad. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And absolutely what Najib is saying is correct, but again, this is a topic and a subject for another time, and we should talk about it, and we should talk about it more. And we got a few minutes left, Basil, and what are we going to leave listeners with? Number one, what is Islamic banking very quickly? How does it work? And is it for everyone?
Yeah, it is for everyone. Mm-hmm. How it works, it's just, I always tell this example. If you are eating a pizza at a restaurant, few people would think, what's happening inside? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you
still get a pizza. Yeah.
To your table.
Yeah.
But when you go to the kitchen inside,
exactly,
you will see if it's an Islamic bank, you will see more observance to the ingredients. There is more what they call interest or riba components. There are more ethics in how you prepare the food. You don't overcharge. So it's different. But everybody can eat pizza, regardless of cooking.
Absolutely. Lastly, I want to ask you, how is FACTA affecting investments in Islamic banking? And FACTA, for the listeners, I'm referring to the laws that we have been adopted by the United States, in which people have to report every investment overseas for tax purposes.
Yeah, I would say clearly it doesn't impact, because that's about reporting your wealth. So you have as a bank, all banks, whether it's normal banking, conventional banking, or Islamic bank, they have to observe the law, and there is a certain, let's say, module or criteria altogether how these banks are reporting the assets and the holdings of their clients in USA or in abroad. So it doesn't impact the banking. But it happened that Islamic banking institutions, by definition, are existent more actively beyond USA. It's more in the GCC, it's more in Malaysia. Those countries are captured by the FATCA, But it's not about that Islamic banking are targeted, because the banks are already there, and this agreement is targeting beyond the boundaries of the USA. And
absolutely.
So that's why it's being captured, and lots of argument on that. But in reality, it's only about transparency. It's about, and all these things, transparency is really highly welcome, and it's integrated ethically in the Islamic bank.
This is wonderful. I want to really thank you for being with us, Basil. This has been a wonderful and informative, and I thank you so much for being with us and taking time to be with us. Thank you so much. And for everyone, I just want to thank you for listening. We still have 2 minutes, and I just want to take 1 minute to say for everyone, these are tough times for some of the communities that we have, and specifically the Islamic community. There's a lot of turmoil going on. There are a lot of issues that need to be resolved. We as Muslims need to work more to discourage what's going on in the Islamic world. Day in and day out, 500 Muslims are being killed by other Muslims. This is not acceptable. It's not enough that we condemn it. We need to do more. We need to find out really what are we teaching our children. What are we doing? What can we do it better? Islam is a peaceful religion. The Prophet himself was designated by truthfulness and by being honest, and honesty and truthfulness. And I think if we go back to the principles, and work on it as much as we can and as hard as we can to really improve our community, improve ourselves, and look what's going on. What can we do really to steer our community toward being more and more peaceful? It's not fair to really condemn an entire community based on what few are doing. We should oppose what they're doing, but it's not really fair. Again, this is really a good topic for another time. Thank you so much for listening, and we want to thank Basil for being with us today to talk about a segment of the economy that is growing and growing really fast. Thank you again, and goodbye. Bye now.